How can the Dallas Stars get Matt Duchene to stay in the building? Let's talk about it next on Locked On Stars.
Your Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan and play-by-play voice of the Chippewa Steel. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. How can the Dallas Stars entice Matt Duchene to stick around for another season or a few seasons in a Stars uniform? I know many fans are already clamoring to re-extend Duchene, get him to stay. And of course, I'm one of those people. I want to see 95 around because he's had such a big impact. But how does that work and how can they do it? Let's talk about that today to lead things off. Also, the Western Conference playoff picture. If the season ended today, where would the Stars go and who would they play? And also the power rankings, which get released every week on The Athletic. Where do the Dallas Stars fall this week? Stay tuned to find out. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your best bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So with the All-Star break ensuing, why not talk about Matt Duchene and how the Stars can get him to sign for a few more seasons. And I kind of want to tie this in to Matt Duchene's 1,000th game ceremony that he had just a few days ago before the Capitals game. What a great celebration of that milestone. Pete DeBoer spoke on it that the league's gotten a lot better about celebrating those type of moments and how important it is. Like, not every day a player reaches 1,000 games, and the sacrifices not only that they make, but all the family and friends that support them and make sacrifices to get them in that position. And it was so awesome to have Matt Duchene's family, his wife and his kids there. He's got 2 little girls, and what a great moment at the end of warmups for his son, Bo. Got to skate out there and fire one in the back of the net, and the Stars fans went berserk. And I think moments like that go a long way and getting somebody to stay. I really do. Look at Joe Pavelski for that matter. He had a couple of options when he chose free agency. Tampa Bay, I believe, was the other, and he chose to come to Dallas. And now we signed a couple of one-year deals to stay here because he's got a family and he's got a future, at least he believes, in Dallas, where he can not only win a Stanley Cup, but kind of begin the after career, so to speak, his life post-hockey. And I think Dallas is a really enticing place for that, right? You can just come, you can play hockey. Not only are you going to play on a phenomenal team, but you're not going to get harassed all the time if you're out and about, because more often than not a ton of people are going to realize who you are. And you can kind of just play hockey, right? And that, at the end of the day, is what most of these guys want to do. And he's had such a phenomenal career when you really look at it. 333 goals and 456 assists for a total of 789 points. He's on a little 3-game point streak. So cool to see him score as well on his celebration day, and all his friends and family up in the box was just so perfect. And the Stars really capped it off on such a phenomenal note. It's funny because his career high was a few seasons ago with Nashville with 86 points. He's got 45 points through 48 games this year. So he's going to be in the neighborhood, in the ballpark of that. Who knows? If you want to have a resurgence in your career, you come to Dallas when you're in the mid-30s. And Duchene's seeing a bit of that. And he's also playing 2 less minutes than he was during that season. Of course, Nashville put a ton of pressure on his shoulders. He had to shoulder a lot of that load. And Duchene, for the majority of his career in certain spots, Colorado when he first came into the league, then Ottawa, he was supposed to be that guy, right? And he never really shined, so to speak. He doesn't have to be that guy here. And I think he relishes that. Maybe he doesn't. And look, somebody would be willing to pay him a lot more than he's making at $3 million this season. Someone is going to back up the Brinks truck to some degree. It's not going to be crazy. I don't think it's going to be a William Nylander type deal. But look, someone is going to be willing to pay him. The difference and the edge that the Stars have is, yes, he does have a family and he's got a few young kids. Does he want to keep them in a stable place? He has already kind of jumped around in his career to some degree, and he obviously likes it here. I think you can just tell, and he gels so well with Seguin, and he obviously sees the opportunity and the path this franchise is going. I don't think the Stars' window is closing in the next 2 years by any stretch, or 3 when he's in his mid-30s. Stars should be competitive for maybe a decade. I mean, truly, with Johnston and Robertson and even Rope. And Duchene spoke about it post-game as well after the Washington game, that he didn't realize when he came in here how many young guys there were. Like, they are set up to win now and from 5 years from now. And I think that's a really enticing case that the Stars can make. Right? Does the money line up? How much is that a factor for him? And I'm sure, of course, it's a job. It is the way he provides for his family. But he took a little less to come here this year. He absolutely did. Joe did the same thing when he was leaving San Jose. Does Matt want to take a little less to maybe be on a contender for next season or a few from now? But I'm sure there's going to be multiple contenders that would like to pay him handsomely. Absolutely. Like, yeah, we want a 33-year-old that probably just matched a career high in points. Like, yeah, we'll take that. A nice depth piece. So, I mean, there is going to be a little bit of a cat and mouse game with that. It's really intriguing because his contract cannot be compared very well to others throughout the league. Pacioretty is one. His cap hit's $2 million. Kane is 2.7, but of course that's very different with his injuries. Gustav Nyquist, his cap hit is 3.185, and he's having a phenomenal season for Nashville. But it is pretty unique what he's doing this season, and the Stars are going to have to make decisions as well, right? Like, who are you going to be willing to move off of? Ty Dellandrea seems like he's going to be somebody you're willing to move off of. I'd be really keen to see what they do with him at the trade deadline. He is a restricted free agent, and he's just in and out of the lineup. For his sake, I'm sure he just wants to play and have an opportunity. Of course, I think he loves it here. I love him too. I think he's a great player. He's just kind of the odd man out right now. And it stinks, of course. That's just the nature of the business. Is Sam Steele someone you're willing to move off of too? I don't know, after the type of season he's having. And I think he's been very productive. He's a restricted free agent as well. Lundqvist and Harley. You have to remember, you're going to have to pay Harley. And what kind of deal is that going to look like for the season he's putting together? So there's a lot of questions, of course. And yes, you want Matt Duchene to stick around. Like, don't kid yourself. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, money and years kind of have to line up, right? But I think the Stars are making a great case, just the way they're playing. I think the hockey is kind of your negotiation factor. Like, man, you're really good here, and you don't have to be the guy. We got young guys that are coming up that are going to really, I guess, embrace the new generation of Stars hockey that can deal with that pressure. You just keep doing what you're doing. Stay there with Seguin, have your fun. You and Marchment, man, just buzzing around, being one of the best lines in hockey. And yeah, you can raise your family here. Got great schools. It's a great city. And the Stars fans love their hockey, man. And they've embraced him with open arms, obviously. And we'll see what happens. So I think it's going to be really interesting here in the final few months. Pavelski, of course, signed his 1-year deal. I want to say it was maybe it was around March of last season. I can't remember, but he signed it kind of later in the year, right before the postseason. So maybe those talks are going on. I don't know. He could be someone that's like, I don't want to worry about it. Let's make a run. And we'll talk about it in the summer, so to speak. But it's a really intriguing proposition that the Stars have ahead of them. And Matt Duchene has been everything and then some this season. He's the best value in the National Hockey League. Absolutely is. 17 goals this season, 45 points. He's a plus 13. I found it pretty remarkable. His 7 game-winning goals this season is the highest in his career. He's shooting at a rate that's pretty close to what he did a few years ago in Nashville. He had 228 shots. He's got 102, just a little past halfway through this year. So he's doing more to some degree and with less time on ice, right? Which the Stars have been able to kind of get out of guys like Ben and now Seguin with the wonderful numbers he's putting together. And of course, don't underestimate the impact Matt Duchene's had for number 91, but awesome to see the celebration of the 1,000th game and having his whole family out there. I think those moments do go a long way. So continue to embrace them. Maybe that's my pitch to some degree. I felt like I gave a pitch to him. Maybe if he can rewind, check on Locked On Stars. Like Joey's got this wonderful 5-minute spiel about why you should stay here and win a Stanley Cup. Win a Stanley Cup. And you can be the guy that brought the Stanley Cup home to the Dallas Stars again. So, anyways, there we go. Let's move on. Western Conference playoff picture. Where do the Stars stand in the Western Conference? We'll talk about it next in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some bets. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win the Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. You can even do the coin toss, the length of the national anthem, who's going to score the first touchdown. The opening line, San Francisco, 2.5. Can you believe that? Hammer Kansas City. Never bet against Pat Mahomes. Don't make him an underdog. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. I mean, it feels like you might be stealing money with that Kansas City pick, but San Francisco is good. Okay, they are good, but can they beat the champs? Right? Can they beat the champs? New customers join today, by the way, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is also brought to you by Factor. Factor is so amazing, Stars fans. It's actually funny. My roommate had ordered Factor not too long ago. He asked me to try it. Dang, these are really good. Get started with Factor. It is the new year, and Factor's ready-to-eat meals delivery take the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, the prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, you even have options such as keto, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more. Plus over 55 weekly add-ons. You'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kick off your new year. Forget frantic lunch preps and rush dinners. Factor's 2-minute meals are the secret weapon in the new year. Fuel up with restaurant quality meals, all delivered right to your door. And don't get the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. You can get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes. The great thing is, too, if you have a special occasion, Gourmet Plus is the perfect solution if you're looking for a fast upscale option done easily. And it is so flexible. You can change up your order from week to week, 4 to 18 meals per week, or you can pause or schedule your deliveries anytime. So head to factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 and use code LockedOnNHL50 to get 50% off. That's code LockedOnNHL50 at factormeals.com/LockedOnNHL50 to get 50% off. Alrighty, taking a look at the playoff picture in the Western Conference. I think it's always fun to kind of run through. If the season ended today, where would the Stars be going? Who would they be playing in a 7-game series? Of course, the Stars are in second place in the Central Division at 66 points, and Winnipeg is right behind them in the 3 spot. Man, can we go back to the 1 through 8 playoff structure at some point? I've never enjoyed this 2-3 and the 1 wild card situation. Too many good teams get out early. And I know it was a chance to create rivalries, but it really hasn't panned out to some degree, if you ask me. Anyways, so the Dallas Stars will be taking on the Winnipeg Jets. They would be the home team. And yes, I know Winnipeg has a couple of games in hand, but just please indulge me on this one. So Stars would be a 7-game series against the Winnipeg Jets. I'll have to be honest, I feel very good about the Stars beating the Jets. I don't know if the Jets are that good, right? And they've been phenomenal because they have the best goals against average. Connor Hellenbuck is an absolute beast. But do they have the firepower to stick with the Stars? I feel very comfortable about that series. I really do. I feel a bit different about Colorado because Nathan MacKinnon is like second best player in the National Hockey League. I don't want any of that. And I don't think Colorado's depth is anything to jump up and down about either. But when you have Nathan MacKinnon, you're always in the game. I don't know if Winnipeg is that good, but they have been phenomenal. Okay, I'm not trying to discredit them because they've been on an incredible stretch. And I think it would be a really intriguing matchup. It'd be physical. And I think it would be kind of a clash of styles, right? And the storyline with Rick Bowness would be really cool too. The former bench boss that took you to a Stanley Cup final. Yes, you lost, and then he hung around for a few seasons, and everybody was kind of getting tired of it, and like, yeah, Stars need to switch up, and they did. They absolutely did. And Pete DeBoer comes in, has such a phenomenal first year. Can he deliver, right? Can he deliver in the second season? So I think that would be interesting. Stars have scored 183 goals this season. Winnipeg scored 148, but the Jets have allowed 109. Stars have allowed 151. That is second most in the Western Conference, or second most in a playoff spot, I should say, in the Western Conference. Colorado's actually above them at 153. So the Stars and Avs are very, very similar, where they're not getting great goaltending. Defense hasn't been great, but their goal differential is fantastic, and they're just hammering teams to some degree. So very, very similar structure there. Colorado would be the overall 2 seed. They would get Los Angeles as of right now. Vancouver would play St. Louis, who is the final wild card spot. Then you have Vegas and Edmonton. That series would be a heck of a lot of fun as a 2-3 in the Western Conference. That would probably be your standout series, I feel like, but between all of them, for sure. Los Angeles, Colorado would be very, very intriguing too. But Vegas and Edmonton has an aura about it with McDavid, the defending Stanley Cup champs. And two, with the way Vegas has been playing lately, who knows if they get in that 2 seed? They are not comfortable. They have been really struggling, especially over this last month. Edmonton, of course, is on a 16-game win streak. They have 5 games in hand on the Knights too, and they got 59 points. Vegas has 64. So look, Edmonton, more than likely, I think it's a way better chance that they get a 2 seed. Who knows if they can catch Vancouver? They very well might be if they never lose again, because they're not. it seems like so. I think it would be a very intriguing Western Conference. Look, it'll be tough for whoever gets through. I don't know if it's as deep as the Eastern Conference is, but look, you have 4 teams in this Western Conference that are within the top 8 of the league. So, like, there's good teams. Yeah, there's some holes probably on all of them. Maybe Vancouver is one that doesn't have a ton, like maybe the most solidly set up, but the experience factor comes in, right? That playoffs, that's like a whole new ball game, and you kind of have to take that into effect too. So how does that all play out? I think it would be a heck of a battle in the Western Conference. And I would take the Stars against the majority of teams. I really would, especially if they get the defense kind of figured out and Otter starts playing to a level that we think he's accustomed to. Yeah, they could beat anybody, and you could say that about any team, right? There's a factor of luck that's involved, and how healthy you are, and all that good stuff. So that is what the Western Conference playoff picture would look like if the season ended today. The Stars hosting the Winnipeg Jets. How would you feel about that one? Let me know in the comments. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, Stars fans. Hit that notification bell. Never miss an episode of Locked On Stars. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeyTheJet19. Follow Locked On Stars on Twitter too. Throwing all kinds of good stuff out there. Always appreciate the love and support. Let's get into the athletic power rankings. Where do the Dallas Stars fall heading into the All-Star break? I'll tell you next in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. That's what brings home the winning trophy and is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Motors Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. So the final power rankings before the All-Star break have been released. These are of January 29th, so of yesterday. And what and where do the Stars fall this time? The top 5 teams with the best chances of winning the Stanley Cup. The Dallas Stars come in at number 5. 30, 13, and 6, a plus 31 true goals differential. It says the Stars are back for the first time in 4 weeks. They head into the break on a 3-game win streak, although I'm a little concerned that they're giving up 21 goals in their last 6 games. Yeah, not very good. They're rolling offensively, and Matt Duchene as well. And of course, Thomas Harley and his coming out party is what it says about the Dallas Stars. The other top 5 at number 4, the Vancouver Canucks. At number 3, the Boston Bruins. At number 2, the Edmonton Oilers. It says they're never losing again. And then at number 1, they have the Colorado Avalanche. It says a really smart move, adding Zach Parise for the rest of the year on a cheap deal. So how about that? You have 3 teams in the Western Conference, 4 in the Western Conference, with Colorado, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Dallas. Dallas at number 5 on this week's power rankings with the best teams and the best chances to win the Stanley Cup. So the Winnipeg Jets not in there after they stumbled a bit recently. Do you think that's a fair ranking? How do you feel about where the Dallas Stars come in? Look, I would not crown the Edmonton Oilers just of yet. If you look at their 16-game win streak, and it's impressive. You have to beat the teams on your schedule. They are not the best of quality of opponents. I want to say there's maybe 4 of those 16, maybe 5 are playoff teams, and that may be being very generous. They have not played the best, but hey, you have to play the schedule you receive, and they are hammering teams. So you have to get you have to give them that. It's interesting that Colorado's up there at number 1. Of course, it's the pedigree. I think McKinnon, and they obviously like the Parise signing. I don't know if that brings too much. Somebody that's 39 years old, and he had a good year, scored 20 goals a season ago, but he hasn't played this season. So maybe he'll be fresh and perfect come playoff time and all that stuff. Boston's really good. I would take Boston in a series against the Stars in 7 games. Better goaltending. And yeah, they're just good all around. Plain and simple. I don't know. Edmonton, Colorado, and Vancouver, I think it's a toss-up with Dallas. I really do. I think they could win both. I wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if they lost either. I think that really is a crapshoot. Boston probably handles all other 4 of those teams. I think they would be Vancouver, Edmonton, or Colorado. So I'd love to hear your observations and thoughts on the matter too. But the Dallas Stars heading into the All-Star break come in at number 5 on this week's power rankings. They've been really good this season. They absolutely have. But there's some holes, and they got some work to do. 16-8-2 at home, 14-5-4 on the road this season, and on a nice little 3-game winning streak. Can't wait for the Stars to be back in action, but we have a bit to wait. Jake Ottinger representing the Dallas Stars in the All-Star game this upcoming weekend. Should be a lot of fun. We'll enjoy the break, but of course, we can't wait for Dallas Stars hockey to be back. I hope everybody is enjoying their Tuesday. Have a wonderful day. I hope I could bring some positivity, some light to everything while we just kind of sit back, decompress, take everything in with this Dallas Stars team. Today was the Matt Duchene stay forever. Just give him the money, all of it. Stay here and just realize your potential with the Dallas Stars. You know, you got the money. You got the money. Of course, he can do whatever he wants. Okay, not gonna be mad at him for chasing the bag, especially after the year he's putting together. I'm sure someone would love to pay him handsome. Hopefully it's the Stars, though. Hopefully it's the Dallas Stars. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and we will see you tomorrow. So long, Stars fans.